What's going on, everybody? This is Jacob Shoup. You're watching the Tom O'Brien Show. I hope you all are having a good day. I hope you guys were short. Man, what a massive move to the downside. Just today, you made an all-time high 2 days ago in the SPY at 613.23, and we're trading right at 600. Seems like it's finding some support there. Dipped briefly under to about 599. But yeah, you're off 1.69% today in the SPY. The composite off about 2.13%. Dow Jones Industrial off about 1.76 at 43,400, with those Russell futures trading off about 2.86%. DXY up 0.2 at 106.59. You got crude oil trading off about 3% at 70.29. Gold contract off 0.15% at 2,951. Copper off. Silver off. Everything off. Get some bonds going up a little bit. Celsius blowing to the top side on basically they're acquiring Alani Nu, just kind of like a more health conscious, I believe, energy drink. I've seen them in the stores. I don't really know anyone who drinks them at all, but hey, that's fine. Maybe there are people who do. But some pretty substantial movement to the upside. Trading right back about October levels in Celsius. So that's a nice bump up here. Yeah, I guess it's a $1.8 billion acquisition with Alani, which is kind of interesting. Anyways, let's keep moving here. You have Disney off. I mean, everything's just off. Tesla off 4.5% nearly. Yeah, I mean, the question is like, what? I don't know if there really is a clear catalyst for what's going on here. I've been seeing a lot of different people talk about things. Of course, you had Microsoft CEO earlier today talk about that there might be an overbuild of AI systems. This misses the milestones that current AI developers have been using to kind of pump the product. Okay, I mean, you know, it's funny he says that, right? Because he's still going to build these things out. There's no reduction in CapEx, it seems like. They did just permit for like 2 more builds, data center builds. That was like 3 days ago. I think kind of what he's saying essentially is like, we are going to build a lot. We're going to have a lot of excess at some certain point here. They're planning on renting out the compute. That's fine. He doesn't say that, you know, demand is necessarily, or excuse me, supply is necessarily outstripping demand there, but it was just a weird conversation. And then he goes and he talks about how great their quantum chip is. And it's like, geez, man, like, and again, I think they said something along the lines like, we could maybe do this in 4 years. Okay, like that's cool. It's just it was a very bizarre interview, honestly. You know, I don't know. Is that what's dumping this market? I mean, I think that was not that long ago. I mean, the market's been dumping since this morning, and you really had some movement to the downside today. Around noon, of course, you have a conversation as well around the Wuhan Virology Institute that there is a new coronavirus variant that's closer to MERS, Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome, and obviously MERS was far more deadly. So, I don't know. You're getting a lot of shakeout here. I haven't necessarily added anything right now. I don't believe this is the beginning of the end. I'm not sure anything materially has happened that is making people say, okay, hey, now's the time to dump. Now, of course, you have Walmart saying that growth might be slower, but I think people had kind of anticipated that to some certain extent, right? I mean, that could absolutely be driving this. You know, one of the things that's super interesting to see is your Chinese stocks are moving up. I mean, Baba is up 5.44% today. Okay, they've been absolutely crushing it. You only have 324 billion market cap. You have a PE of 29 on Baba. These are the ADRs, of course. You're looking at BY DDF, the BY. Is it right? Yeah, these are ADRs as well. Pretty sure. 3 points. No, that's not right. Give me a second. We'll look at that in a moment. I got to figure out what the ticker for that ADR is. And then, of course, I'm not sure how NIO is doing. This is one I kind of want to look at because it is so cheap as far as Chinese car companies are concerned. They're expanding. They're expanding into Europe. I mean, the cost of these cars themselves, even with Europe tagging on, I think it's like a 35% tariff, like these are still going to be like relatively cheap cars, right, for what they can sell for, especially when you're talking about BYD. Okay, you're going into the UK. I don't think the UK has, and they've definitely spoken about tariffing the EVs, but I don't think they necessarily have a reason to do that because they're not really developing EVs. You know, this is Chinese stocks being the safe haven today is kind of a funny thing, right? Let's take a look at what else we got going on as far as the general portfolio is considered. And Nebius, so this is off again 12.37% today. You've had a lot of buying back and forth. I'm still bullish on it. Everyone keeps saying the headline's worse than expected. Not really the case. They're kind of like right on line for what they've been trying to do. Again, I think you could kind of argue that Satya Nadella's comments on compute, you know, could be suppressing this a little bit. I mean, you're also getting TSSI in a major way to the downside, off 5.4. Okay, you're off 13.04%. You know, I mean, it's just a general down day in the market, and I don't know of anything that really occurred that would warrant this being a longer-term thing. And again, we have been saying this constantly, right? We said it in December. Okay, that's the end, guys. We're crashing right back down. You know, we said it. I mean, definitely here on the drop down on the 27th. I mean, this was the DeepSeek news. You get it again here. I mean, and again, you can't just look at the pattern and say, okay, we're going to be good to go from here on out. It's just going to do the same exact thing. But I'm not sure what has occurred, and I'm not sure anyone really knows what has occurred that's going to make this longer term, and now we're going to traverse back down. Of course, I've been joined by Tim Ord recently, and he's looking at a potential pullback, you know, around the 580, 585 level in the SPY. Of course, I don't always look at technicals that way, but that's why it's great to have him on, because he does. And, you know, if you want to watch that, you can absolutely go to our YouTube channel, Tiger Financial News Network. That was from yesterday. So, yeah, I mean, that's what we have going on. Let's take a look at SMCI. Of course, you know, you have options expiration, right? So, I mean, you can get wiggy movement to the downside on it. We're off 5.65% in SMCI. Again, you got to have lower volume right now. I mean, that really could just be what it is, you know. But I don't think that anything has occurred today that suggests, you know, we can move to the downside permanent, right? Anyways, folks, stay right there. We'll be right back.